agenda. Gotta go find it. So there's really 4 items on the agenda, but Fred, we might wait until we start talking about, are we going to discuss the high school options at all down the road?
Well, I guess we can.
Okay, I figured maybe that would be in the general discussion.
I mean,
I guess it's not on there.
you
but-
wrote the flyer there, the handout?
Yeah,
Okay, well, you're here. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. yeah. So I guess, and Mark, you'd sent an email. Did you guys get the email that he had sent on Friday? I think it was. Did you send it to them or did you just send it to?
yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
okay. Where it was just some more options of
Right.
the high school things to
Right.
look at.
Yeah.
And I know we're not,
well, that's, and we can talk about it later, I guess. We can talk about it now, it doesn't matter. I think our focus at the moment is on New Boston and
yes,
Apollo.
absolutely.
And we don't want to ignore the high school, but it's
Right.
not where we want to
Right.
focus our energy.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. What
But
we're,
yes, some of your comments we think are good. Some of your comments I just read, I think are true as well. So
yeah,
a lot of this stuff at the New Boston and Apollo, we've spent more time on them and they're
Right.
more worked out and
Right.
adjusted and
Fine-tuning,
massaged. And we haven't really done any of that kind of
Right.
level of planning or thought
Yep.
process
No.
at high school, other than just big,
yeah,
here's some swaths of color.
what
So,
we can do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
actually excited a lot of people.
well, but
last month, myself included,
Yeah.
saying
Yeah,
we actually have enough money
maybe,
to for the classroom
right,
Right.
at the
right,
high school.
Yeah.
I mean, that was exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah.
even Don
right.
was excited. So
yeah. And I think,
I thought that was exciting to think about having brand new classroom.
right.
So that was exciting to me.
And I know some of us have talked about trying to maybe go to the community and raise some money. And so keeping that, kind of getting something out there so that we can use that
Yeah.
as a tool to
To,
maybe get some,
for something to see.
Right.
So
even some renderings, even if it doesn't end up being exactly what, what we're looking. How you guys doing?
you missed the first 1 minute of it. I can move over. This is technically your home.
Homer does become.
Like it.
Donnie?
Not down. Is you riding behind him?
He was riding behind me.
Yeah.
He
Right.
went back home like crazy.
Yeah. All right, good. Good to see both of you.
All right, well, then I guess let's tackle the New Boston. Start there, review and discuss site plan and floor plan.
Yeah, and this had something to do, Marcus said he had some ideas.
Yes,
Yeah.
we got that here too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
We do have that plan.
and Marcus is on vacation with his wife this week. He's not able to be here, but he'd be happy to talk about that.
so he brings a bunch of stuff to the table and disappears.
That's summertime.
Oh, what can you do?
That's right.
So when we last met, we looked at 2 versions of this. One of them, the classroom edition to the west was pushed south so that the addition did not cross over that setback line. And then this edition, this version of it, where we kept that line of the existing building, went north from there and then bumped a little bit past a setback line. And this was, from that discussion, this was the preferred option because it preserves, partly because it preserves this existing drive lane and existing parking. The issue with that version is that there was an expressed need for additional parking, and that's shown here. A new parking lot with room for 40 spaces. So that's the site plan for that version.
Go
And
back
then
at the site plan.
back to the site plan.
So, this, I think, is nice in that we get the additional parking. And the parking is on the edge of the site, so that leaves you more grass field area and a big chunk. The disadvantage, of course, is that parking is a little further away from the building. So I think I still like the idea, you know, we've got some accessible parking up close with the existing angled parking. But having the new parking off to the edge of the site, I think is probably still better than having the parking right next to the door and having the green space.
I can tell
cut
you
out.
right now, they're already parking out there. Where you put that space out,
Mhm.
there's cars parked on both sides of that street. all
Right,
around
on the street there, yeah.
And down below where the concession stand is,
Yes,
they park down there too, and they park up on top.
okay,
So I don't think that's gonna bother.
yeah, okay.
I think it looks nice.
I do
Yeah.
too.
And the majority of the days that parking lot won't get used a ton. Would you agree with that? I mean,
Probably not. I mean, for
I'm
teachers,
assuming the teachers park there.
yeah,
I thought they were parking over there.
Well, I don't think they like parking up there.
there's not enough spots there right
There's
now.
not where
Mhm.
it's
So
at
that's
now.
what Tab was saying.
Okay,
They end up
great.
parking down by the ball diamond.
I got you.
Yeah,
On the
they'll park there.
street.
They park.
I think that looks
Yeah.
nice.
I think so too.
And I spoke unofficially to a few people on encroaching that line, and I don't think New Boston, Illinois is gonna have one issue. with
Yeah,
Anything you guys want to do.
we did some more checking and Nick talked to one or two people. We're still chasing some down, but it doesn't appear that New Boston, I would say they don't care, but.
No, that's.
They're
right.
excited to get a brand new.
Right,
school.
exactly.
But
They're
they
excited.
don't have all of the rigmarole
You
that
have a big city.
of a big city, yes.
Yep.
They don't have the baggage to drag around.
I
as we
spoke to a
sometimes
couple of
say.
the people that would be in the know, and they thought that would be no issue whatsoever.
So,
One
which
thing,
is good.
one thing I worry about looking at it is that one-way parent drop off. It'd almost be nice to have that be like, instead of connect into that other driveway, have it be its own little driveway coming out.
Oh, come back out to the street.
Cause I could see people trying to go
Mhm.
up to that front main entrance door.
Mhm. Right, right.
Yeah.
And then now the buses are coming
Right.
and it just cause I mean, I don't know, we could put up signs, but signs didn't work at Apollo very well.
Teach kids to read. I don't know about the parents. But I really like, you still got the buses on. the
Yeah,
west
that's
side,
gonna be
right?
awesome,
I mean, keep
yeah.
them by themselves.
Yeah.
'cause I actually got to witness it one day with Scott, and that's a mess down there.
Yeah,
This should make a lot of people happy.
yeah, this might be the best drop off and bus thing with any of the buildings we got. so.
We'd actually talked with the city before about making that a one-way street at East Jefferson during certain hours because of the congestion when we've got buses dropping off in there.
Yeah, it would
Before
make
and after
sense, just
school.
from what I witnessed one day. So
Great.
it's nice. Don, what do you think?
It's a bit confusing, but I think it'll work. You can, I guess you can, like I say, I think the parents can read okay, they just don't obey things very well. No
Right.
Problem.
Right.
Yeah, agree to disagree.
All right, well, let's look at the floor plan. So sorry. for Going backwards.
So the floor plan, there aren't any revisions to this from the last time we met. There was some discussion about the number of small rooms that we have and about the size of the special education classrooms. I included square footages on this plan, but didn't make any adjustments to the basic configuration.
Now, 2 meetings ago, am I wrong? Wasn't that all like one length? Did we just?
That was
I mean, knock
the,
Price out.
that was the previous option that most people didn't like because it messed with the parking entry sequence out front.
By making it lighter to the west.
It was lined up and the bottom part of the gym, all of that slid out to the front more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but is there any way someone can send that to me? Because it goes towards the person talking, so unless someone can be a ventriloquist, I can't see what we're looking at. Is there a way to email it to me?
Hold on.
We're gonna take a picture and gonna use the Google Map machine.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all right.
I just didn't want to expose you guys to a summer cold.
Well, as long as it's not COVID.
That's called, a summer cold is called
I'm like
COVID.
trying to get over it.
All right.
Any illness is COVID.
You can only get COVID.
I got it.
My dad told me that he ate breakfast with a guy with COVID the other day at the bowling alley, so he had to stay home for 5 days. I was like, okay, and I went into McDonald's the next day, that guy was sitting in the middle of 8 old guys. And I said, I don't think that guy cares that he's got COVID.
Sorry, I had to move over here. I couldn't. That's the oldest guy in the room.
I don't send any of the pictures from Long's party Saturday, got it, I'm thinking about that for a second.
Yeah, share the right one, right?
Maybe.
See, I know you, so I can say whatever I want.
So I think the last time we talked a lot about special ed and the breakout rooms, the small group instruction rooms. But we kind of went back and looked at it. We're not sure that we really have a feeling of what you want to accomplish and what you need. We had a bunch of different people listed and, you know, they're going to be here half days and such, but I don't know that we want to have a bunch of extra rooms because there's a cost to that. So we'll talk about that in a minute as well. So. Why don't you just show the second floor?
Don always says, we want the best kingdom in the world for the least amount of money.
Excellent. I love that.
Okay.
That makes perfect sense.
I'm not sure I've ever said that, but that's
It's
around the
something
same,
along
that's
those
around the
lines.
lines of what a guy should need, yes.
Yes.
This didn't change either, right?
So what's
Correct.
different? What room did you remove on this one?
No, that's the second floor of the gym.
Oh,
The second, the two high space. Yeah. Second floor. If you want to look at that.
So. Is that special ed room? Cantilever? No, the one on the, right
See,
there.
I moved back by tab.
Or is that? See what I'm asking, that 708, that one, yeah, looks like it might be, because if you look at the first floor, doesn't look like there's anything under it.
Okay, hold on a second.
No, yeah.
Your computer would be better. Take a picture of.
Now that is interesting.
Sorry about it. Boundaries and all.
Good catch. We'll have to. No, it's not Ken.
Okay.
It wasn't meant to be cantilever. I'll phrase it that way, okay?
So to me, but.
That
it's like
increases
the second
construction costs a
story-
lot.
Yeah, it does.
There's a second story on the left.
Yes,
Isn't it look like there's more building there than on the right?
That's what.
There-
Bill's-
that's what we were
that's
just-
what
yeah.
Bill's pointing out.
you're all right. That's okay. You rub it in. I don't mind. It's okay.
I was texting.
Anybody else want to say anything
Yeah.
while we're on that topic?
No,
That's all right. But yes, that is incorrect.
Sorry, Billy, when you were talking, I was texting.
That's all right.
it's Bill's.
So you're talking about a whole
Bill's
different
past
thing,
life.
Tab. You're talking about that big gray area. Bill's talking about a tiny sliver
I'm
up
talking
there.
about where it says Sped 700 something.
Yeah.
Yes,
what I
that's
was
the area we're
about, too.
talking about.
What about those?
It's not on the first floor.
I see that. I'm just talking about the big gray area.
That's the roof of the existing building.
Like the cafeteria.
Because it's a single story.
Right.
Any other drafting mistakes anybody want to point out?
Well, I
The
didn't
little
take,
lights
I didn't
aren't
take
blinking,
drafting, so
Clark.
I would have done a lot. What's that?
He said the little lights aren't blinking, Clark.
Anything else you wanna touch on for this part?
No,
Go
I
to
have,
Mr. Bush's.
I have Mr. Bush's
Yeah.
version in this. Oops.
We're gonna have to pay for that square footage bill instead of that.
And I think Marcus's intent here was to, one, gain some of those extra spaces.
Those extra spaces that we've been
individual-
kicking around, absolutely.
But also that there are two self-contained classrooms on the end there, that K2 and that 3.5. And we've talked about where those might be cost effective. Particularly here at the junior high and at the high school. In fact, we're implementing one of those in this building next year. But in maintaining the two split elementaries, I'm not sure if we've got the enrollments. You know, if we're gonna have that, a large enough population to make that cost effective, because, yeah, those are high cost students that might be anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 or sometimes more per year. But I don't know that I'm gonna have 3 or 4 or 5 of those kids every year to make that work in those particular grade levels.
Is there a cutoff on where the financial benefit is? Is it 3 or 4 or 5? How many kids? do you need to make
Typically,
it
it's in
work?
that 3 to 5 range.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that you gotta make sure that you have on an annual basis. You know, we experience, pretty high mobility in our district, particularly in the New Boston attendance zone. And so we may see some of those kids for a short period of time and then they're gone.
Mhm. You hate to have spent the money for more classrooms and they're all gone.
So Marcus is thinking we need to add on to this end of the building as well.
Yeah, well, that's where he's showing that he could gain some additional office spaces for the social worker.
Is some of that crosshatch stuff existing or what is that underneath?
That's the existing building that's coming down.
Yeah, just the angled lines is the existing that's being removed.
Okay.
The
Those
brown
two pre-K
color.
rooms are already there.
And those are staying too. Yeah, the 2 pre-K rooms stay.
And if you went back to the left, then to the west, everything else is the same on that end.
Yes, but he's reassigning, so the existing principal becomes the social worker's office and the secretary, I don't remember now what it's.
That's okay. I'm just saying the other building's all there.
It's all, yes,
He's trying to add another 9,000 square feet.
right.
Okay.
SEL office is what the secretary's space becomes, so.
He moved the entry to the building, the main entry to that. end
Yeah, the
there.
main entry
Right.
would be, because that's where that drive kind of curls into the parking lot.
Right. And so we don't have anything against this, it's nice. The only drawback, of course, is the cost.
Mhm.
And so, you're probably 2.5 million for another 9,000 square feet.
And there's
So,
already a building.
I'm sorry.
There's already a building.
Yeah, but we're removing that building anyway, so I'm not.
But it couldn't be completed on the same time frame because
No.
it's gotta be the
It
last
would be a
phase.
separate phase, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So after the new addition was built, we tear down the existing part that we're removing, and then we'd add these offices, classrooms and entry to it.
The tear down process, could that happen during the school year or would it be best to wait until the next summer? How would that? Have you thought about that? Like, is that something that
Or
can
would
be
they go
done?
to school?
No, I'm saying like, once it's complete, once we get the addition, the new part completed. Can they immediately start taking that building down? Because it's gonna be completed and the kids are probably gonna be in school within the next month.
Right.
Start-
And so we would say yes and no. How's that for hedging?
Okay.
Right? Okay, so those 2 pre-K classrooms, which are connected in some fashion to that existing, but we don't know the structural ramification. But we wouldn't want to have people
In those,
in those rooms. We wouldn't want to have people coming in that main entry now.
so you'd wait until probably the next summer to do
So
it.
part of it, I think we can take down the majority of it, in some fashion while school is going on, but we wouldn't get that final piece until school was out.
It's not the same people tearing down the building.
Could be.
Could be,
Might
they'd,
not be.
they'd sub it out to a demo contract.
But still just
They
liability
should be able to
wise.
tear that.
Yeah. it does make-
Everybody knows which way the tree's gonna go down.
Yeah.
Until it doesn't.
Right, so, but what I'm thinking is that, let's say we complete. The new addition. It's gonna be probably another 2 years before that 9,000 square foot would be able to be
Be
usable.
considered.
Probably.
You're not gonna be able to
Yeah,
tear
maybe not
down-
2, but a year and a half or something.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to tear down and get,
Can you go back to the second plan?
yeah,
It's
Because I mean,
probably a next thought.
we're,
Yeah.
this is
Well,
not 9,000
yeah, but-
square feet.
So I don't know, is there some, if we want to add another 9,000 square feet, is it better to come off that existing hallway, to the left of the playground? That piece, something right there, yeah. Put something in there that has more,
Where the old
benefit.
gym was.
Yes, yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I guess we haven't really thought about how to accomplish it because we didn't know whether you all wanted to actually add.
Well, the restroom is right there inside that walkway.
Mhm,
So anything on that side stays right next to that restroom,
right.
unless they need a separate, I still know it. I know he said move that down there.
Mhm.
That was all.
Is this something, it sounds like from what I'm gathering is we're trying to add these rooms to do that higher needs population that we're not sure about what we're, that the consistency, I guess, per year that we're gonna get them. Is it even smart to even be wasting our time talking about an additional 9,000 square feet right now? I would propose that we keep moving forward with what we got. You can't do that until you take down the old section anyways. And then when we get done with the whole project, including clear to the high school, if we want to come back and we think that we have a more consistent student population like that, we can entertain that at that point. Does that make sense or?
Yeah, we can do that. I think that's fine.
And I think, Mike, that was the direction Bill was talking about. I think everybody would have to agree, and even the financial side of another 2.5 million, knowing the things we're trying to accomplish with our give or take 20 million we have.
Now, something else we could do is to this existing new addition classroom wing, right? Move it out a little closer to the street. I don't know, we'd have to get the city to go along with giving up some right of way, and I don't know what utilities are out there. But, if in fact we do need 2 or 4 more small rooms, office size, if you will, kind of thing, to accommodate these special needs folks. Just add, tack a couple on to the end of the building, if you will, and maybe it's not 9,000 square feet, of course, but maybe it's 1,200 square feet or something, right? I don't know if there's any benefit to that, because we're still, from our perspective, I don't think we're still quite sure what you have to have as opposed to what you'd like to have, right?
What you want and need.
Right.
And still, we took the initial $9.6 million and didn't, nobody fall down yet. So we
Mhm.
didn't start to add more to that. We still got to get a follow down, and we still got to get, we hope, the new
Right.
classrooms at the high school.
Yep.
Within that budget. That's down, Bill.
Yeah,
Chad,
I
That's kind of what
agree.
we were all discussing. I understand what he wants. That's.
Right.
And he's already got an extra 780 square feet that Bill spotted on the first floor.
Yeah, that's right.
Oops.
There you go. I like that. So like
One,
I say, I appreciate Marcus taking the time, and I understand he expressed it. And I appreciate what you're saying, Scott. I'm not understanding if it's 3 to 5, and is it 1 some years and 6 some? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a $2.5 million question that.
But there's a
in
lot of,
district that's, in
yeah,
a district that's just trying to get out of 19, 20, 30 buildings, 50s.
one thing that's not on this drawing that was on a couple of the previous versions we looked at was a exit almost straight across, headed back to the east in the middle of that classroom wing that would go out directly to the playground.
Oh, yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes. Yeah, you're right.
Because that one, I think that is, a real convenient, for all the students in that hallway, but also makes an easy access to the building if you needed to
Great idea.
vacate the playground quickly rather than running them all down and around the hallways through the
Right.
ends.
Is there any restrooms in that end? I can't really see.
Yeah,
yeah.
there was. That's a great idea, Scott. And then everybody don't have to go back through the cafeteria.
Yeah, you're not marching by
Jack
everybody's
slap
classroom,
everybody.
because you know what
Jack
those
slap.
kids, even if those kids are quiet. I've seen them in Bill's hallways. They're peering in the rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, when we were kids, that was called the Jack slap time. It was okay back then.
So do we have an idea that we need to add some additional special needs space at all? Or that will be a future?
Well, if we
Phase
decided to
or-
go that route, we'd have to also look at hiring staff.
Yeah, and
I mean,
I think based on the footprint you're using, that's not an immediate option, just
that
No,
might just
I-
like
it's
future
just whether or
planning.
Like
not, you know, to
talk
be able to have school, when we're done with our construction that we're showing here, do we need to add 2 more special needs office, small group instruction rooms, or are we happy with what we've got?
we don't have them now.
Okay.
I'd say we're happy. And if you start talking about adding, staff now, Don is gonna get involved,
Like people with jobs.
the muscle. What's that?
I said I like people with jobs.
That's a nice layout. And like I say, I'm very confident that if Austin's gonna work with you on your little bit of needs to the north. And I really like that matched up nice on the south. That looks nice. And I like the extra parking lot.
Be nice baseball.
Well, there you go.
Really.
Yep.
Man,
And they have a nice little park there.
we get all that.
All right. So a couple things as we work on this, we keep adding more detail in our stuff and some of it you'll see, some of you won't because it's buried in the process. But one of the things that we need to bring up is furniture and other kinds of items that will be included in the building. Are you just planning on reusing the existing furniture? You want to look at getting some new furniture? Want to explore what that might run budget wise, or what are you thinking?
Do you still use as a rule of thumb 10%?
No, I mean, it's a fine number, you know, as far as putting in a placeholder. You know, the furniture that we do in elementary schools these days are different than what we did even, 5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago. There's a lot more flexibility of how you can rearrange the furniture and the desks and the chairs and activity kinds of space things, so.
I think it's something worth looking at. I
Okay,
mean, when we're constructing in virtually an entirely new building, I don't think anybody wants to restock it with the furniture from 30 years ago.
we like that idea as well, because you feel bad when you get all these nice shiny new pieces, building spaces, and you bring in the old furniture and some of the legs on the chairs are not working quite right. And pretty soon you get scratched and you're,
I'm with Scott, and I think this is a great time, and I know we can get the community involved to raise money. I think everything should be brand new, top to bottom. I can bring up openly, I'm sure Lucier Flake will want to help. There'll be plenty of people that I know will want to help with this process. So I wholeheartedly, do you have any thoughts otherwise? Don?
I like it. All new.
great. So then a related piece to that, besides just furniture, is the technology. So we will typically put in the cabling and we'll have drops in the classrooms, jack to plug the Cat6 cable in or what have you. But we don't actually include any of the computers or the monitors. We'll have, connections for monitors, but we won't have the monitors themselves. No switches, no servers, no Wi-Fi. So all your hotspots and things, we'll have a place for them, but we won't actually have the device. Are you happy with that? Do you have
Yeah.
technology folks that will
Yeah.
take care of that?
Well, I mean, I know just for a fact, my niece just moved in. She was all happy. She's got an interactive TV in her room. She was down there yesterday, her and her kids and
Yeah.
in New Boston.
Yeah, and in fact, I mean, we're relocating some of that equipment now. I mean, we purchased an additional 25 of those 75-inch interactive screens, and we're really moving away from these things because of the flexibility just
These are a
isn't
pain in
there.
the posterior.
There are some spaces, this is a space where it's still handy.
Mhm.
I was impressed. I had no idea they had all that there. So I thought that was awesome.
Yes.
So again, this is nothing real pressing, but down the road here, we'll need to get together with your tech people to make
Yep.
sure that we're providing the kinds of things they need, so. Fire protection. Okay, here's another one. So,
Current building's not sprinkled, right?
no,
Yeah.
Portions of it.
the newest
The
piece.
nineties, the nineties portion is.
Right, the other part is not. So the new addition will be sprinkled and we'll have to adjust whatever pieces that aren't sprinkled now will need to be sprinkled. Now, I don't know that because a couple of those, I don't remember now, are those two pre-K classrooms, were those put on at the same time?
No, they are the older,
Right,
like 65.
yeah, so there's the two classrooms
Piece.
in the office piece and I don't, maybe that's all that we're reusing. We'll have to go back and sprinkle those rooms, I
Those
guess
areas.
is the short answer. So that
Yeah.
when we're all said and done, the whole building will be sprinkled.
Okay.
The way the Illinois codes set up is any addition over 7,200 square feet has to be sprinkled. And then you have to go back and sprinkle the existing building if you're doing more than 50% of the value of the existing building. And we're doing that just by the sheer volume. So when we're done, this will all be sprinkled. So I don't think right now that the new part that's sprinkled has a fire pump or tank or anything. So we've got our fingers crossed that the water situation in New Boston will be able to provide enough water volume and flow to not have to do a big holding tank and fire pumps. We won't know until we run the fire hydrant test. Anybody have an idea?
Yeah, they're coming right out of the same aquifer we are. They're side by side.
Do they have a tower though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got it. Is
Yeah,
it
right
fairly
by-
new?
Right when you
Yeah.
come into
Is
town.
it?
Yeah, it's
Then it's probably
It's-
fine.
Yeah,
Pretty good
right-
shape.
Right when you come in, it's a block from the school.
Oh, okay.
It's right by the city shed. Now they took all the trees out. You can see
You
it.
can actually see it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I never even knew that was there until they
Yeah.
tore all them trees out.
So we're expecting to not have to worry about that, but we'll know once we run the fire hydrant test.
Okay.
And the fire hydrant test is you open, and I don't remember the number, but you have to open, excuse me, hook your gauge to one, open it, and then you have to do one or two other ones within X number of yards or whatever. And they test the
Pressure
flow and pressure at the initial, and then after a certain amount of time, I think it's 15 minutes, but again, don't quote me. And if there's enough water at enough pressure after that particular period of time to run a sprinkler system, then you don't have to worry about it. If there isn't, then we have to come in and put in a storage tank. And for a building like this, it's probably going to be 10,000 gallon tank. And two fire pumps, one pump and the other a backup. So, which would then fill and operate the sprinkler system. So
That sounds like a $500,000 deal.
it's only money, don't worry about it.
It's only money.
It's volume.
Johnny's middle there.
Yeah.
It's volume.
It's money, but it's not too bad. It might be 10 grand, 20 grand somewhere.
Oh.
So,
That's all.
I was thinking. bigger than
10,000
that.
gallon tank.
just a big steel box.
Painted red.
It is painted red, actually. Actually, it is.
That's like $5 grand.
It's just a
Oh, yeah,
painted
the
red.
paint, yeah. Yeah, we have done square ones, we've done round ones. I don't know why some are square and some are round. All right.
All
Anybody
sounds
have any
good.
other thoughts or ideas or questions on New Boston?
No.
No, nice. Everything we've been
Oh,
talking about.
I almost forgot because it wasn't on the agenda. Kitchen in New Boston. We've talked a couple times about kitchen in New Boston and haven't really said anything other than we need to talk about it. So, any more thoughts or discussions on
You're on the committee.
Yeah,
kitchens in New Boston?
I
I think
think,
they have a plan to fix it.
well, I think we're investigating, still doing it as a central kitchen,
Okay.
going to one. We've got some to make our meals better, hopefully. So I don't know, what are you thinking, Scott? Are we,
I think that's where the discussion was headed when we met last week.
yeah, cause the hard part too is finding staff to staff it.
Mhm,
Cause
absolutely,
if you're gonna prepare and cook the meal and serve the meal, you gotta have more than 2 people.
right, and they all
So-
have to be certified.
Yeah, so. Yeah, so I think that's where we're at right now.
Okay, so at the moment, then we'll leave this set up the way we've got it, which is a serving kitchen.
Mhm.
And there'll be, we'll have equipment for warming and cooling and such, but it won't be for cooking.
And they've already met. We started a committee, they've already met meeting with the cooks and everything. I was excited.
Yeah.
So is the central kitchen gonna be here then?
Yes.
in this
Yeah.
building?
For next year, we'll have one at Apollo and one here.
Okay.
Kitchen at Apollo, a kitchen here, preparing food, but we're trying to figure out where we're gonna go the next year. So,
Okay, good. So Apollo, we'll talk about Apollo for a little bit here. Bill?
Smile.
He's smiling because he's on the,
This is
he's
the,
on the way out. That's what he's smiling about.
I'll only see it in retirement.
this is the Bill Fluette non-memorial edition. Non-memorial.
So this is, we last time presented 2 versions of this multi-purpose room addition. The first one maintains the existing pavement to the east, the existing sidewalk and the drive lane. And the second is a little more compact, about the same size, but it projects to the east into that existing drive lane and pavement.
And that's the one you said you liked.
And so I guess the thing that we think, and we assume we know, whatever, that you like this layout. The thing that we weren't sure about was whether we're going to move the driveway and parking over to the right or not. I know we talked about it,
well, it's
but I
a,
don't know that we got any direct.
it's really a 1-lane road right now anyway.
Well,
So
there are
20,
2 lanes, but they only use one.
Because
99%
people-
of the time.
a lot of times people park even though they're not supposed to. They
Yeah,
park
so
there.
people pass,
Yeah,
and that's nice to have.
Right. but maybe if you had a 1-lane, people wouldn't, maybe, well.
I still think I should share it on Facebook when I leave the car unattended.
I like what you're thinking, but I still kind of like the other idea that Marcus had. I think that approach, if we needed to move that concrete to the east, guys, we
Yeah.
can look at that later.
Well, the whole drive needs redone
That's what I'm
anyway.
saying.
whole thing is.
I mean,
You
I
see
saw-
what I'm saying?
yeah.
At least get done what you want and then we'll kind of play with that later.
So we'll proceed with this
Yeah,
building addition layout. And you'll think some more about whether or not we're actually gonna move the driveway. and
All you
parking
gotta
over.
do is, if you're gonna tear it out or whatever, you just add between the
Yeah.
8
New
feet or
hallway,
whatever it
yeah.
is,
That's
cut
new hallway.
8 feet of grass away and.
Are there
Yeah.
any doors along there or? Uh-huh.
it's
Yeah,
not
there
gonna
will
be that bad.
Yeah, and that was one of the things we
Have you
talked
seen
about.
that
Are,
driveway?
are we
I have
wasting a lot
not,
of space on
Looked at
dead
it for
hallway?
its condition though.
I don't know
How many
when they
square,
scoop
how many
sun
square
or
feet is that?
snow,
that
if they just
you've got
come right
that
in.
lighter pink.
It's broken.
Um,
That's simply hallway to gain access to the gym without going into the multipurpose
Oh, I see what you're saying. Scott. You had to split a set of doors.
I
there
don't
and get rid of the-
know, that's an interesting thought. We can adjust the amount of hallway. But what I'm not sure is if we can do away with it completely. Because then we would not have
But-
a direct exit from the.
Yeah, but I think
gym
you
on
could
that
get
side.
rid of that inner hallway and just have a set of doors.
No, the inner hallway, the one that's L-shaped,
Yes,
yeah, 7 shaped maybe. That's the one I'm not sure if we can do away with, because then there would be no exiting from that side of the gym.
We do
But
need,
no, there's
we do
doors
need
there now.
3 exits from the gym.
There's
And so
doors there now.
one-
there's 2 sets there now, but what he's saying is if we build that multi-purpose room on, then there's no longer those exterior
Right,
exits.
yeah. Because the gym's big enough that you need three different exits.
So
I
my,
got
you.
my
Locations.
question is, so if you get rid of that wall, can't they just exit out through the multi-purpose room if we put a door on the outside of the?
No, because then you're exiting through another room. And there's certain times that you can do that, but I don't think this would qualify,
I got you, safety wise.
safety wise.
I got you.
That's funny, because they going further by zigzagging if they're,
You can't think about it too much.
no, I know, it's,
Because that hallway becomes an exit passageway and it has to have fire rated doors.
right.
But you're
Because-
saying if you move that over and eliminate it, put the door right down there where the door's gonna be anyhow, then that's no good.
Right. Because see, this
It has to be a
addition,
separate corridor.
this is what, a 3,500 square foot addition,
Yeah.
3,800
Jesus.
walls and done.
Isn't that funny?
We're not gonna
No, it's
sprinkle
retarded.
this.
Yeah, right.
We don't have to sprinkle.
Don't
this.
get me started.
So if it's not sprinkled, there's a whole bunch of other things that we have to do fire exiting wise. That I don't say that we can ignore it when it's a sprinkled building, but a sprinkled building's a lot easier on exiting requirements and construction requirements.
So if you
than
sprinkled that,
non-sprinkled.
you could take that out of it?
No, but the construction of the hallway would be,
Different.
we wouldn't have to have a fire rated hallway. Since this is not sprinkled, that hallway has to be fire rated construction.
And if you go to the other design, you have the same problem?
Yes, because that one.
You're saying that gymnasium just needs to have 3 exits?
Yes.
What's wrong with putting another set of doors along that wall that you got the other 2 on?
There has
Because-
to be a separation.
And there's a definition in the code on how far apart they have to be. And so you measure the diagonal length of the room. You divide that by 2 and the opposite exits, the different exits have to be at least that distance apart. Otherwise, their concern is that if you've got all the exits on one wall, that the left wall into that hallway, it's a great hallway, but if there's a fire in that
Gotcha.
hallway, all 3 of your exits or 2 of your exits or whatever are blocked off. So and it makes sense, and then there's a rationale.
So
They want you to separate those.
up
exits.
above where that kitchen area is at, is that part of that's part of the existing?
That's
Yeah.
existing, yes.
So I guess I don't understand where the traffic flow is gonna go. Will they be coming in on the right side there where the sidewalk is, or will they be coming in where the hallway is? And then will there be a door in the multi-purpose room right before it turns pink there, or?
Yeah, I think the idea was that this could be closed off and used as a separate facility, and you'd have separate entrance on this side.
But that's also how the students would enter the multi-purpose spaces.
So they come in there, they come in the same door that they've been using all along? Well, that wouldn't be there anymore, would it?
Well,
No,
so
that
that's-
door.
That door is still
Still
there.
there.
But is there an outside?
I assume, Bill,
That's not an outside door
And
anymore.
there'd be an outside.
No, it wouldn't, the outside door would be to the right.
And will this be like the main entrance then? Set up where the
No, I would
cycle-
think it would still
Still
be,
be the
the
other
main
one.
entrance would still be down by the office.
Yeah.
Now, this might be a main entrance, quote unquote, for
Drop off.
students, during the day, during the coming and going times,
Yeah.
school starts.
Mhm.
That might be open, a couple of staff people there, making sure kids don't screw around. They would never do that, of course.
So
But
does the
during
3
the
exits
day,
not
it would
apply
be
to the
closed.
multi-purpose room then?
I'm sorry?
The 3 exits don't apply to the multi-purpose room?
Yes, they probably will
There'll
too.
be-
probably will.
there'll be-
You don't
But we'll
understand.
have doors to the
But Bill,
exterior.
I would assume, if I was Bill, my concern is that one where you got the red line where the door is there, just to the left here, right there. Bill, I would assume you'd have that locked from the outside, so that's just an exit.
That's still inside of the building.
Right, but you see where I'm at, you don't have to let them go
I
in
think
that.
I think we leave that unlocked during a regular school day. But during, if you had an activity at night,
Yeah, we
you
don't
would
people
lock
running around
those so
faster.
people wouldn't
Yeah.
wander around the
Yeah,
rest.
you see where I'm at. I
Yeah,
was just trying to say you.
I already
can
do that
control
with the
that.
gym doors.
Okay, yeah, you don't
Yeah.
let people come in the gym, right? In the
Well, when we
gym.
have something in the gym, I lock the gym door so they can't go out in the classrooms.
Right,
Right. Just trying to keep things contained
Exactly.
during those other outside
Yeah.
of school hour activities.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
You said you'll probably have to put exterior doors on the multi-purpose room.
Yes,
So the double-sided arrows between the two is just open areas between the gymnasium and the.
Yeah, that's gonna be like over here.
All right, well,
between the
if it was all open, would the exits on the east side count as one of the three? And then you could get rid of that, if you're talking, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you're starting thinking about getting rid of the hallway.
If all that
We
was
don't want it
open,
all open.
Okay,
if, is that what you're asking? Well, that's a bearing wall,
okay.
and so we're gonna have to have.
I was just thinking in terms of somebody asked about how to.
How to
I
get the
don't-
hallway
I don't-
away.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I don't spend any time in elementary school. So I don't-
But those exits have to be on a certain given sized room has to have these 3 exits you're
Yes.
talking about.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good sized room that,
Part of the
and they
reason
have
we're
to
leaving-
be exited to the exterior, not to another room or nothing.
They have to be exited to a hallway that leads to the exterior. So, and in a non-sprinkled building, it has to be a fire rated hallway. It's called the horizontal exit.
And if we want to hold PE classes at the same time, we're utilizing the cafeteria area, we gotta have a barrier.
Told you I don't spend any time in elementary. Good reason. They can get
Well,
there.
unless you need all that, wouldn't it be a lot shorter hallway if you just made it at the north end of the multipurpose room to that grass area?
But then you'd have to, everybody would have to go through the hallway to get to the serving window.
Gotcha. This looks like a lot of wasted space is all.
We have to have a certain amount of hallway. We don't want more hallway than we need, but we always have to have the certain.
That area of grass to the right isn't used for anything. Is there any way we could just have it project more to the east? And just move that drive over? Cause that's just wasted. All they do there is mow.
You mean like the first one, but just keep the window on the same side?
I'm talking that grass area right there between those cars and the street. All that is,
Oh, that.
that area. We could just move everything over there and just have the whole thing come out.
And leave the one gym exit doors where
Yeah.
they are.
Oh,
So instead of being L-shaped, it'd just be
it'd be a rectangle, yeah.
rectangle going straight out. We'd have to redo the-
Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
And then we would
Leave that door down there. and-
move the parking in the driveway. Would you need the extra parking? I don't, do you use all the parking?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you could put
You just make
parking,
all that
you
grass.
could put parking on that like little area right below the right side of that blue square. We could put the
Oh,
drive,
so you'd have parking going both directions,
well, you got,
off the driveway.
yeah, you could in that area.
Well, couldn't you just have them come off the street side and they never come in there? Still have to drive, but they can park from the outside. Like I said, that's.
There's a lot of different things we could do. I like tabs better, just to keep them out of that area. Yeah. Pull in, you see what he's saying? He's saying, Bill, just take your parking lot today, if you just picture flipping it over on its back. So it comes in from the street. So you just come right off the street, pull in a parking place.
Oh.
Kind of like at the old hospital.
Just
Where
like
you
a-
just pull right up right in front of the sidewalk.
At the new library.
Kind of like my
Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, flip it over.
And you
You'd have a
still use the
sidewalk.
But that area.
I want this
really
note,
good
tap
water
water. This.
diversion in there. Cause we were gonna, we did a safe routes to schools, we couldn't put a sidewalk there because of that. Isn't there like a dip?
Well, there is a ditch, but you can put a tile in there and put a big culvert in there.
All the way. I think Tab's got a.
Yeah, I like that idea too. That's a great idea.
Just, let's all just write this down.
I thought.
Don't worry, you'll do something to make it forget it
I'd
soon.
say if we do it, his name goes on the parking lot.
There you go.
There's no way to get to the blue space without going outside them.
Say again.
There's no way to get to the blue, if the blue space is the multipurpose cafeteria, whatever. There's no way to get to it from inside the school building now without going through the gym.
Through the gym.
Which
Could
we
you still
don't,
have that hallway?
Well, that's what you were trying to get rid of.
yeah, I thought that's what we're trying to get.
Trying to get rid of the wasted.
Yeah,
This
if you're
looks like a
gonna
lot
do
of
that,
wasted
then you
space to
don't-
me.
Then you're spending a lot of money you shouldn't. I didn't know what the blue, I stepped out and got some water.
Yeah.
Um.
And
I
it
still like the
actually makes-
parking lot idea.
To me, it makes the building look kind of strange then versus the other.
The L.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The L probably fits in style wise more with the existing.
that's what I'm
building.
saying. It just looks.
Um,
I still really like that parking lot. Well, Bill, that ain't a ton of problems.
It's like swimming pool out there.
So you
Yeah,
get that
yeah,
one
so we
lane,
just put a
that's-
pool in.
That's it.
Take a
No
picture of that,
parking,
send that to
backing
Mike.
out. Yeah, that's right.
Did you need a picture of this too, Mike?
No, it'd be diagonal and not like parallel. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Put the whole thing over, you'd have no parking when they're just drives.
You could have circle drive, right? The cafeteria. Is that blue square or swimming pool now? Or what's
Yeah.
that?
We decided we're putting a pool in.
That's where the plaque is going. That's great parking.
There we go. It's gonna be a plaque about 60 by 90.
Don't worry, Mike Clark will do it for very cheap.
Put a big old sign up there.
yeah, without replacing the kitchen, I think we're kind of stuck.
Yeah. That's good talk though.
Yeah, it's good worthwhile to kick it around.
Can you live with it the way it is, Bill?
I'm not gonna live with any of it, so somebody can.
Well, I know. Yeah, but you know the functionality.
Yeah, but there's only so much you can imagine until you're standing there and looking.
Yeah.
And it's hard to imagine. I read somewhere that when colleges build new buildings, they don't put a sidewalk in for a couple of years. They wait and see where all the tracks are. And then they put some sidewalks in.
There's some truth to that.
I've heard that too. I really
Yeah.
have.
Well, shall we proceed
Yeah.
with this? We'll still think about some other
Yeah.
options, but I think we're gonna,
If you come up with a better way to get rid of that
Yeah.
hallway, but otherwise, I think we're
Anything with
stuck.
the gym floor in this whole deal is like.
We haven't talked about it, but I think we probably should.
Right. What's the point we can?
I mean, you're gonna be putting a new floor in the multi-purpose room. They could both be the same floor.
That floor just says tile.
Right. I know that it'd be nice to have something in there that's a little,
is it
yeah.
still 9 by 9 tile?
12.
No,
They're all
it's
12.
not.
Well, that's good.
yeah,
It's 1970 era.
yeah, 70.
I think we moved in 71 or 72.
I used to sit crisscross applesauce there, but back then. It was
Indian
style.
style. We used to do that. We learned to
All right, that
square- we
terminology.
learned to square dance in there when I was a kid. Yeah.
So, all right, so then
It's good stuff.
furniture.
Furniture, I'm
next.
assuming that we'll have new furniture for the new cafeteria and multipurpose space.
It's up to Bill. I don't know what your tables and chairs.
I don't know,
table
because
that's 2 years
Bill's got
old.
all new tables.
Oh,
Oh.
you do have all new. Oh, well, what a deal.
That's good.
The tune like $18,000.
Hopefully they
We just
fit
saved
in here.
18 grand.
Yeah, they're nice.
Good news.
Are they just the normal kind,
They're the same kind that,
fold up,
yeah, but they actually, you can do it without bringing in a bunch of sterling.
and you don't have to worry about getting your fingers pinched?
Yeah.
Individual seats, not benches.
Individual seats, that's nice.
Yeah.
But they still fold up, right?
Yep,
Couldn't break it, break it, scary.
They're heavy.
That's funny.
Yeah, they're-
all right. Kitchen remodel equipment needs,
Oh, yeah.
which that we probably should hold off on till we figure out how we're gonna move forward with, one central kitchen, because that would,
Right.
we got another committee that's kind of, so I'd say nothing with the
We'll
kitchen
just
at this
not do
point.
anything with that.
Yeah. But I think we should think about the floor in the gym.
Well, just, I mean, it's the
Same thing they put in the YMCA, it's some kind of rollout. Scott, if you could shoot him whatever that was, we rolled out the Y.
The Y floor.
New
Yeah.
Gym.
You could
It's not
find out what it
hardwood,
is.
it's like a vinyl.
It's not like that tartan service.
It's about,
No.
they're about 4 foot wide sheets,
Mhm.
just a big roll, and then it's all seamed.
Right.
But it's
Yeah,
kind of a
like
rubbery
basketball,
material,
yeah.
so it's
Yeah,
kind of,
Norament is one brand, the other, it's kind of a rubber.
I
yeah,
definitely think we should look at that,
Okay.
because when I took PE there, everybody's falling down all the time. That gym's. kind
That
of-
would be a
Dangerous.
good time to do it. Like I said, you could have a continuous floor from one space to the next.
Right.
give you a little bit more
Yeah.
usable gym for others.
Absolutely. well, like I say, safer.
Is there any way to take that hallway, it's just, I don't know, you know, and make it more useful? Is there any way like storage that doesn't move, change the footprint or
You wanna make
anything?
it more bigger?
Or I don't know, I'm just trying to think of a way that you could take that and make it more of a useful part of the building, less of like, this is what we have to have, so that,
Like a ticket window,
I don't know.
the Christmas counts would be $5.
You know, I've heard everybody talk multiple times about, Don always liked it, but like that atrium, could we turn that atrium into like a storage area for everybody?
You mean the courtyard,
Yeah,
just turn it into.
No, you see what I'm saying?
A roof on it?
That's what I say. So guys, that green space in the middle, what's it take to put some type of roof on that while we're doing this? If it's done, has this been an ongoing problem?
The old
in there?
courtyard's been in sad shape for,
Well, you see what
since
I'm saying?
about 73, I'm guessing, but I don't know.
it was pretty good when I
There
was
have been
in
some
school.
times like I
It had somebody that took care of it.
Fixed up, but then there's.
Don't you have to have outside windows for those classrooms inside though?
If we make it a storage room or something.
No, and there's.
You see where I was at,
no
Mike? I was just talking about
exterior
making a
window
storage
requirements.
still.
No,
I
the
was talking about.
People like
covered
the-
and making
people like
storage.
windows, yeah. I don't know that they're required.
But
That way, when they're not focusing on what they're doing, they can look outside and see something that
Would
they
you guys
can.
mind zooming in on that, Nick? That green space in the middle. So what, and I don't know space, doesn't matter, but we're wanting the moon here. So let's talk
There's
about
about 4
covering,
classrooms there.
what's that?
At four of those classrooms, they wouldn't have any natural light in. And-
Right, so what I was saying is we just cover it, concrete it, and make it storage.
Like he's saying they're like.
The light for those classrooms,
For
for four
EMA,
classrooms,
Okay, so that's no good.
no, not,
Okay, no
Unless we're
problem.
Talking skylights or something, maybe, yeah.
ugh, those leak.
Yeah, yeah, I hate skylights.
Don't
No,
put a hole in
that
your
was
roof.
just- That was just a thought, guys.
Or at least get rid of everything in there and concrete the whole thing,
Yeah,
so you don't have to mow it or make.
could concrete it, yeah. at least.
I think put a bunch of rocks in there, make it a Japanese feng shui.
You go out and rake it once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, could we do on the east side and the north side, since that's hallway, could we make you some storage on both sides of that? So if you take your
Oh, yeah.
cursor there, Nick, so you're talking about east side, north side. So if you just, no,
No, top and bottom.
top
Take
and
like a
bottom.
third from the
So
top.
you do the top and bottom and give them, let's just say 10 feet in or 12 feet on both sides. Cover it and make that storage on both sides, Bill.
33%.
Or offices,
Well, you see where I'm at, because
you
you're,
probably put offices in there.
whatever, you were wanting a little storage, how about a little bit of both?
Can you go 33%?
And then do what Don said, Don with his concrete, all that.
Whatever the rest of it is. Make it so it's-
That bang, you're doing
Loaded,
good
no
there, Nick.
maintenance.
So you could have offices and storage, Bill,
Still
coming
leave the
straight
windows
off your hallway.
They still have the windows.
Not
Still have the windows for the class.
Yeah, well,
Change the
windows out.
Roll up doors
the-
along the inside of
The
hallway.
disadvantage to that is that the two little storage rooms would be horribly expensive.
Okay,
So
there you go.
just from construction, I bet it's a couple $100,000 aside.
It'd be better to just build a shed inside there.
Thought about that.
There you
Drop
go.
in- drop in all those
Yeah.
lawnmowers.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, just, is that just for access?
Don, you can fly a helicopter.
I'm sorry?
Terribly.
No, but I-
It's the access, it's the amount of space. So, you know, you have to have all your columns and beams
Darn
and
Yep,
foundation.
no, I just.
Trying
And
to-
that middle
All right.
section,
Yeah.
surrounded by the sidewalks, is now sodded. So
Okay.
it just, I went out and bought a really cheap electric mower, and
Yeah.
it's in the custodian's office across the hallway. And that's, actually, maybe, you know, that sod is really pretty easy maintenance.
Does anybody go out there?
You know, it's not very often.
I think Fred Lucas's industrial class can go build us a couple sheds right down in the middle of that, and then you'd have your storage.
All right,
We like the way you're thinking.
so
tried, we
we know
tried.
a guy. Do we want to talk about the high school for
Yeah.
a moment, then before we go on to these other miscellaneous things?
Yeah.
Show me where you're putting the
No,
field
here's-
turf.
Here's
I don't
that.
think that's
On
on
the
here.
field.
Well,
That's-
hand that to
Yeah, I
Ted.
gave you mine.
Oh, you did, okay,
Yeah, he read for a long time, then asked me.
all right.
Yeah, this is first time.
Got
Bye-bye.
excited.
Hey, Bill.
See ya.
Hey, see you, Bill. Thanks.
Thank you.
So the,
I'll come around there.
this is what Mark sent you guys, correct?
Mhm.
That's- Yeah. So,
I went up and visited Sherrard myself and Bill couldn't make it. But Sherrard, 2019 put on whatever square footage I have up there and for a wrestling room, because currently, guys, our wrestling room, they have to cross the road. Do you know that?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then our old weight room, just looking at the age and where it's at, just threw that in there. So, Don, in 2019, which I know the price is different today, but they put the wrestling room on a weight room, for 1.2 million. And then eventually the ultimate goal is to have another full functioning gym. And I just threw that on the north side because we kind of talked at the last meeting down where we could move that classroom set up and we have the money to do that correctly, correct? And I just threw those two on there saying that could eventually be our new gym to the north. And then the rest of it, you know, however it works, maybe just the buses come in on the, what I'd call the west side of the building, and then all the rest of the access to it, all cars would be coming from the east side of the building, getting rid of understanding the house and some other things there. So that was just a concept.
Okay, I got a question.
Sure.
Can you zoom in there for Ted?
When you're doing all this on an angle here, you're losing this whole parking lot anyway. The way it is. Why don't we just come down here to where the tennis courts are, just start there? And head that way and not take out all that in the first phase.
Head which way?
Head to the west. Instead of having it all cockeyed and up against that hill, you could bring it all straight down and leave space in between until, and I don't know how you're gonna hook it into the cafeteria and all that.
Well, they were just trying to tie it back in to catch the old existing gym tab and kind of make the circle.
But I don't think they realize right here, the tennis courts, that's about a 25-foot high hill, straight up in the
To
air.
the right of the tennis.
Yeah,
court,
Yeah, straight up.
They talked about it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look, where you put that corner of that building, this is all wasting space now. You might as well build well, I mean, there's just no way to access any of that.
Well, we're still thinking about what is a master plan, conceptual plan that makes sense for the high school. Because when the high school was originally designed, it's very much a set piece. There is not really a lot of opportunities to expand or rearrange this existing building without going off to the northeast there, from just a layout situation. So we've been kicking around, well, how can we rearrange some of these spaces, but still keep some of those spaces that we have to keep from a program standpoint? We're not going to replace the auditorium, right?
Correct.
It's not going to happen.
right,
So we're going to have the auditorium, we're going to have the existing gym. We've got that existing cafeteria space, it's there. What can we do to keep those existing spaces, add on, remove and add on new spaces to it that makes sense from an overall programmatic requirement?
When we were originally talking, not long ago, we don't have a big enough practice field as it is. We're gonna have to come into there at any point. So why not just start, the beginning of a whole new high school? Maybe, I mean, that stuff's still gonna last 25, 30 years. The existing gym and auditorium. So we're saying 30 years, 20, I don't know.
Well, they're redoing it all right now, so it should go actually a long time.
Okay, but the way they set up this thing cockeyed, I don't think we should go cockeyed with it and keep going, because then you're just gonna lock yourself into this corner. Because there's just nowhere to go. You almost need to come off the gymnasium and come across that practice field this way, so you got all that to build onto on either side, to me.
What was the idea of that original, the cafeteria being a wedge in between that and the gym? Why did they do that? Why didn't they make it one or the other?
well, I don't
Either
know.
square everything
Well,
up.
Well,
From-
because the VOTEC building was a piece of hill back then too, because that VOTEC building. was-
The original-
Right, I'm just saying the gym sitting here and the main classroom sitting here, why didn't?
So I think the original
Make the cafeteria, they
concept
put that big
from-
wedge in there. I don't
The original
understand.
concept from 1951 or wherever it was you got your main entry there, right? Facing northwest,
Right.
and then you've got, and that's a nice limestone carved limestone.
Yeah.
entry piece. Excuse me. And then on either side, you've got the brick flanking wings.
Mhm.
And one side is the gym, the other side is 2 stories of classroom. And so that center entry with 2 flanking wings is a very traditional architectural concept. And so I think that's what they did. And with that architectural concept, then the rest of it kind of fell into place, if you will. And so to get those 2 splayed wings, you got some pie-shaped pieces left over. And the pie-shaped piece on the one side became the cafeteria.
Wow, that was a terrible idea.
But Tab,
The guy's been dead for 20 years.
Oh, you know who it was, huh?
Tab went on with Sherrard.
I wish we could
You
talk
have
to him about
think,
it.
I mean, at some point, when you start adding on, I mean, if you look at Sherrard's now, they just started going to the north with this new addition for the wrestling room and the
Right.
weight room. If you go to Rock Ridge and look at their new big gym, when they built it, I actually was the first year that got to play in there, my senior year. They built it to the south. It isn't necessarily go with where they're at, but you have to find somehow a way to still connect the old corridors,
Oh, I get that.
hook out. You know, I don't think
'Cause
when
made
you
the
guys
vote-
looked at this in
you made the
view, it's
location.
really about the only way to tie it back to the rest of the school.
Stick.
Well, that's the thing is how do you get around? In the band room and the choir room and all that other stuff behind the auditorium, they're at a different floor level, which screws it up even more,
Okay,
right?
so down here you got cafeteria and commons.
Yeah.
How are you planning on getting food by semi to the cafeteria commons there?
Right.
I mean,
Right,
you can't.
remember, this is just, all I did is
Yeah,
throw that down there. I just threw it
got
down
you.
there.
I'm just
It,
saying.
it's gotta be somewhere.
And it's not a cooking cafeteria if we've got a central kitchen
Right,
at this site.
So you wouldn't.
So it
have
won't be a
delivery.
semi.
The one thing I was
You still
thinking
gotta
is, especially after we see what this courtyard over here, I'd almost put the cafeteria commons in that brown area.
Landscaped courtyard.
Yeah, and then you could almost make that, what I would really like
Yeah,
to see,
well,
if you zoom into the corner, at the very entrance of the cafeteria at the top. So that's the biggest bottleneck. I'd love to see us like take out some of those interior walls, open that up, maybe even, I don't know, that's probably a bearing wall, but open that up so that, because when people leave the gym, it's 2 by 2. You can't, it's a bottleneck big time.
And that's exactly the exiting issue. That's why we have those
Who left the dragons
yeah.
on there?
doors out the
Yeah.
back of the cafeteria. now.
Is it really on there?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, on the basketball court.
That's hilarious.
Ah,
Thank
excellent.
God.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're lucky you got
We
the
gotta-
right crowd here. You could've got it.
We gotta-
So if you take Bill's idea there, guys, so let's bounce out
Cause
just a
that makes
little
one
bit.
big cafeteria.
Yeah.
But, Nick, if you could just
We could get rid
back
of the
out, no,
kitchen.
go the other way, and then grab that little red. Oh, it ain't live, is it, the red? Is the red live for you, for where the cafeteria is? You can slap that where Bill's talking about, right there in the courtyard. And make that the new cafeteria.
You
I
could-
like it, Bill. I was just trying to
Yeah.
throw it wherever it's at.
But I see Tab's point is that he's trying to figure out how can we still access some of that parking.
Well, but I'm okay with getting around it, but then you gotta come all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
So you can have something to get in between it.
But
Because-
any one of these schools, if you go to Rock Ridge and you park, you're gonna walk 50
I'm not
yards.
talking about that. I'm talking about the fact.
Sherrard ain't got no parking.
But we got, I mean, we only have limited space. We don't have the cornfields. We're going sideways when you have the smallest available space there.
But we're gonna have the swimming pool area too, though, aren't we, at some point that we can do something with?
That's the goal.
Even more my point, because then you can just come right to there and straight across eventually, if you're gonna build onto where the thing is.
I think we can all agree potato, patata, however it fits in. I was just throwing some of the pieces in on that, guys.
Yeah, no, I think, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of moving parts for this high school project. You know, in a new, if we were to start fresh, go to a cornfield in the edge of town, right? Nice flat and build a whole brand new high school. we look at some different things about having our commons, our entry from the entry. With secure entry with the administration off that, it goes into a commons, and from that commons, then we're going out into the other activity spaces, whether it's gym or auditorium or classroom areas, and there's other ways to look at it, but that's one that's fairly predominant. We probably can't do that with this because we're doing it in phases, we're doing it in stages. You know, where the auditorium and existing gym are, they're not really adjacent to where all the available land is that we can build on. So is there something, you know, that if we put a new commons to the right of the auditorium, is there some, you know, some way we could stick some, you know, new commons up in that upper right-hand corner somewhere in there, and then have our new wings go off of that? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's, but then, you know, all of a sudden you still have your front entry. Is it still on the northwest side? In which case, that's probably not the best
Well, if you're
for
taking out the
all the
Botech-
parking that's available.
if
I
you're
don't.
taking out the Botech building, you open up that whole thing. We
Well,
can actually go.
Right, but
East.
the one thing we gotta think about is, and I was gonna bring this up next, is we're gonna have to do this in phases,
Yeah.
as you
Mhm.
said.
So
So
you
to
can't
me,
lose the Botech.
The
until you
first
have the
phase
new
is the
Well, yeah, it's built in
classroom,
79.
yeah.
So
So the
I mean,
first phase is the classroom edition and probably cafeteria and commons. And then the second phase is probably the vocational building. And then you tear down the old one after you
Mhm.
get it built. And then the third is the new gym. And
Yeah,
would that be kind of what you're thinking?
that way you can be exiting the others as you.
All I want to do is, could you slide up a little bit for me? All I want to do is when I get done, that we weren't the guys who left this little block of nothing that nobody can use for nothing.
The tennis court and senior
Yeah.
parking lot right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that-
Right, but that detail, we'll get rid of that.
You can
And even that hill tab, that's just a good afternoon for Frieden excavating. That hill will be gone.
Yeah,
We'll move that dirt.
Particularly if there's no pool up there.
right.
There is not gonna be a pool there, I guarantee you that. The pool will be gone.
So one question Fred had asked, and because our original Votech building's 12,500 square feet, and we're proposing 11,000. Is there a reason we came up with that, or is it just kind of
Just looks good.
okay? All right, so we got some ironing out to do with all that.
Yeah, it's just very diagrammatic.
Okay,
And like
Well, and I think it'll look way different than the one today, Fred. I mean,
Right.
it's gonna be whatever the needs are today.
You know how much time we spent on laying out what is the
Yeah.
program for the Voc Ag building,
Right.
right? We spend no time on it.
right.
And is that, where am I, is that 12,000 whatever square feet that you had for the vocational building? Is that just the first floor blueprint?
That's just the floor
Footprint,
plan.
so it didn't include probably the 1,500 square foot of second floor space that we have where they
Right.
store copy paper and light bulbs and all that other crap.
Because all of that, this is real big picture stuff.
Right,
And so we're looking at how can we lay out this chunk of space, and the chunk of spaces are gym, classroom wing, commons, cafeteria. You know, is the cafeteria going to double as the commons? And you don't like to have it 100%, but you like to have maybe some cafeteria space, that's dedicated cafeteria space, and that runs into the commons space. So on those nights where you want big activity spaces, you can fold up all the cafeteria tables and you've got a larger commons area. But those big chunks of space are what we're trying to arrange in a sequence on the site that makes sense with that existing building.
it's definitely a challenging
Right.
project. How to figure.
And so to say, you know, whether we're gonna worry about 12,000 or 11,000 square feet at this time isn't really the question. The question is, where
Where's
is
it
that
going?
11 or 12,000, whatever, 13,000, 10,000? Where is it gonna end up on the
On
site
the site,
in relationship to the other building pieces, both new and existing?
yeah.
I think it is a good opportunity though, at this time for like, Fred and some of the other people to start looking about, okay, if we're gonna be getting a new vocational building, what do we want it to look like inside? What do we, you know, and so they can start bringing ideas to us. Same thing with from the wrestlers. I know, some of the wrestling coaches have been, talking and having input and now's the opportunity to start thinking and bringing us those ideas.
Related space.
Very,
Wrestling?
very well
Oh,
done.
yeah.
Yeah, but immediately the wrestling coach, he said the key to what we did there, he said our old ones sweat all the time. He said it drip off the ceiling
Yeah.
the whole time.
Making it
He
rain.
goes, you have to put plastic down before you pour the concrete.
Yeah,
So that's what he told me. He
Well,
goes,
that building was built to something else. wasn't
right,
it?
and, but even Sherrard,
No,
Sherrard's
the old-
wrestling room
the old-
sweat too.
The old wrestling room was in the basement. See the.
it's where our, it's where our
basketball
weight
court?
room's at, now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, top
Below the
left.
bleachers.
It was down in the hole,
Right.
and I mean, it was a dungeon, man.
It's a
So you could
sauna.
lose 10 pounds of practice.
You're supposed to, yeah.
Right, but Fred, I like
And
all
get
your comments,
ringworm.
I read through them briefly, but still, I like what Mark said,
Yeah,
we're
that
still
rest-
trying to get some,
Petri dish.
I call it the 10,000
Right,
10,000 foot view. you know?
right. I understand we're still in the infancy stage of this.
Oh, we could use
So
our new. our
One
new
of my
parking.
concerns is just the space in general. I don't think anybody wants to get something that's move into a space that's smaller than what they have. Uh, Especially when we're dealing with a lot of stuff we do there. Aaron sometimes may have 2 cars in his shop, you know, I may be, depending on the number of students I have, I built a shed this last year. We, you know, I've had it before, I built 2 at one time.
And we'll keep all that stuff in mind.
Right.
So this again, just the big, because this site is a challenge
Yeah.
with the way this building, the original building is laid out. How can we do something in the multiple phases? Because you still have to have class here while
Yeah,
we're doing this, right?
That's the problem, if we move off
And-
site and go into,
So it's
whatever,
a
like
challenge.
Rick Gilbert did.
This is absolutely a
years.
challenge.
The other thing that, and again, some people have to have some.
Okay,
Just talk
slide
to
down a
the
little bit.
teachers,
Remember, we just got
yeah,
that
she
house.
goes,
Down. That
She's
parking
like
lot there,
45
that's
years
all, we just bought all that
said it was tough.
4 years ago.
Yeah,
What's that?
We could actually start in that parking lot and build back down to this side and leave this alone at some point, and then come back to this once we got that.
You own the field?
Yeah, that's that parking lot.
no, not there. He's talking up to the north.
The
Or-
north.
Yeah, right.
Oh, there, that makes, okay.
Yeah, because we could,
Yes.
we could shut that, we could go right across that street and go right across there.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, start with whatever you got down there, not be like maybe vocation or whatever. Start on that side with a whole big chunk and then connect it to the new part. And then you don't bottleneck yourself in the back there. I don't care how well you build everything you want on that practice field, because we're turfing it.
That would be the other thing, though. You've got all that flat green space in the southwest part of the property that could be accessed if you built a football field with permanent turf. And we could use that. So now it seems self-serving, obviously, as a football coach, maybe somewhat frivolous of all the things that we're spending. But you got to look at it in terms of you're paying something to get access somewhere
We'll
else.
just have to raise the money. We did it once. We can do that.
And that field is drains
Here's
terribly.
the problem, right here, they go crossways
We've had
like
what,
this to
In the
make it
last week,
50 yards
4 inches
wide.
of rain in the last
Yeah.
And
week.
it gives you about 30
It's probably
yards out.
soft.
Oh, so they don't actually have it
No,
square?
no, no.
Oh,
They have to go across here to get an actual. field
oh,
length.
okay.
There's no way to do it there because it's too small.
Yeah, depending on when you take the Google Earth image, you can see the lines there. We have
It's
two
the lines.
we have 2 half.
Yeah, because we run like a dummy field over here that's
Yeah.
really short. It's like 30 yards wide and 30 yards long, maybe.
And then actually the southwest corner of it cuts into the rocks. that's
So you
in front
can't
of it.
actually.
Oh,
set-
okay.
Yeah.
So you can't actually set your offense up any direction here. You gotta come over here and run this diagonal thing. To actually run a football
Right.
field
right,
wide
right.
offense to run your play.
Just
I
so you
think you've
know,
only got
just so you
20
know,
yards.
on this practice field they're whining about, we've won 4 state titles. 2
Yeah.
seconds, and a whole bunch of other.
Yeah, we still
It all
had,
happened.
we still had a hill then.
Oh, okay.
We took it up.
So I'm just saying, I don't know, I don't, they tell me whatever, but I've been a part of it. Actually, we got 2 second place,
I'm just saying
conference
it's-
runs there when
it's
I was.
available. You have to look at the, what I get when my wife comes home from the shopping trip. You don't look at how much you spend, you look at how much you save.
Hey, I-
20% off.
Hey, we'll spend whatever it takes to win another title.
Right.
So just
One,
where's the guarantee?
one
That's right.
caveat to turf though is it's not permanent. It's only good for about 15 to 20 years.
Right.
So,
And there's still gonna be a water problem there unless we deal with that.
well,
Well,
if
you
you
got
go
that
turf, you're digging it all, it's rock and paving
They,
and
yeah, they.
it's
Just giving these guys
all,
a bad time.
yeah, it's not.
We can get a couple state titles out. Let's go.
What is what's the difference between, so like on the existing north wing with the classrooms is about 12,500 square feet. And then all the new two-story additions are like 1144. 440. So
It's just,
It's just,
drafting.
again, it's trying to
Just
drafting, like same thing.
We're just
We-
looking at block.
I feel like, and again, I've all my vast years, of 1 year of experience in this district. And I don't even work in the building, I work in, I got the best situation because I work outside the building. I'll maybe go in there half dozen times a year. It's just, the what I gather from everybody else in the building, it just seems like you're at a disadvantage for functional space, which I think is probably something that's been echoed throughout a lot of these things. When I've been involved in IEP meetings that had to meet in the old home ec room, kitchen area. Or I don't know what really it's called. I talked to Bill. It's like there's one on the north end there. It's like a glorified closet
It's like, yeah,
that where we've had to have.
Where,
that.
yeah, well, it's Moran used to be in there, Mr. Moran.
So I think we've discussed this tonight, and I would like to move on if you don't mind,
Yeah,
because again, the high school is a challenge, and it's gonna take a lot more thought on your part and our part and the community's part as to how. we're gonna address this.
Nope, me too.
But
We're happy to see
yeah.
something up there.
Perfect,
Progress is being made.
perfect.
All right.
So,
Thank you very
We'll
much.
see ya.
Thanks for
Thanks for
coming.
coming. So, all right. Project timeline for New Boston Apollo, is that what you're thinking?
yeah, did you approve Apollo? Because I don't know if we actually heard that you approved
Did
Apollo.
we?
Yes, we
Yeah,
did.
we did.
You did,
Yeah,
okay.
we did. And I think we approved it as doing them at the, or bidding them at the same time.
Bidding at the same time.
We're bidding them both at the same
Right.
time. One. We want to stay on your fastest timeline.
Fastest time on, everybody does.
Well, they said they were gonna bid it this fall,
Right.
break ground spring is best time to bid it.
did it in January, actually.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, Nick, you wanna hit the high points?
So we just broke out the schedule, starting now and.
We just hired these guys to come here every day for a year.
Project closeout, which should be in August of 2024, and sort of spaced out intermediate deadlines between those two end dates, to arrive at some specific dates for us to hit for packages, internal review packages, and packages that we use for budget review and for quality control. And it's broken out in some detail here. I don't know that we need to go through each and every date.
Maybe we'll send it out to you. How's that?
I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, if you can just email me a packet of the slides that we've looked at tonight, kind of like you did last month, and
Sure,
then I can share that with everybody.
And I guess if there's any dates that we as a board need to make sure we hit on getting information or whatever, we just let us know what those
Yes.
dates are so we can.
And the main thought I agree to echo what Bill's talking about. I mean, we did borrow the money and we want to start putting the money to use.
Yeah.
Scott, you agree? That was the plan. Don?
We gotta spend some money.
We got
Well-
it, they're burning a hole in our.
one thing that we didn't get on the agenda was life safety work. There is still some life safety work at Apollo that needs to be done. I think our project will take care of New Boston, but Apollo still has it. Do we want to do that as part of this or separately or thought about it, think about it?
It would probably be economical. wouldn't it?
Yeah, I probably need to review what those projects are.
Yeah, I don't remember what the details are. I just remember
Okay.
we haven't talked about those for a while. And so we're going to address the life safety requirements at New Boston because we're gonna tear it all down. We're gonna address them in Joy because we're gonna dispense with it as an attendance center. And the high school, you're working on some of those
Right
things
now.
right now, but we've kind of, I would say ignored Apollo, but we haven't really addressed those life safety issues, so. Maybe
And I-
we'll look at that again.
Windows, doors, it was
I think
one
it was
point eight million or 1.9,
Well, probably,
health, life, safety.
Yeah, and those, that includes all the recommended ones as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That was to get everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were, you thought all that was good stuff, right?
And so the next thing on the agenda is the nitty gritty stuff. So I don't know that most boards and building committee, facilities committees want to be involved in all the little odds and end pieces that come up. Or if you want to have other subgroups that will work with us in answering those questions and tracking down some of those answers. Whether it's staff, user groups, I guess user group, the ag teachers, those different people that have some specific requirements that they want to have us include. We need to get those folks lined up here in the very near future as well. So
that'd be typically like how many people are on that usually, like 3 or 4 or
3 or 4 or 6, beyond 6, it gets to be a little.
so 4?
But I'd say, Scott, however you handled this, I mean,
Yeah.
none of us were, I don't.
Right.
Well, I don't.
No, I don't
Maybe
either.
Scott, I would think.
building principles. and
Building
some of their
principles and
staff
Scott,
members.
but then we also, there's sometimes we need some other
The tech
input.
people.
Right, and so it's just. You can spend as much time as you want involvement wise, but normally boards aren't interested in
No.
getting into that.
And we'll get blamed if something's wrong. so.
Well, and we don't know Scott, we don't know the things to ask.
Right.
We don't know anything.
Right.
I
don't
think
know what
our
we-
job is to say, we're gonna spend this much, not to exceed, and get all you can get for that, right?
I'm trying to get 3 art teachers right now to tell me what 2 kilns I'm supposed to buy.
But you see, there's no way, Don may wanna be in part of that nitty gritty, I don't want it. You seem
Well,
like a
looking forward to it.
nitty-gritty.
I'd like to have a meeting about every night if I could.
There you go. No, but
Again, you're always welcome to join, so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not, we're not,
No, that sounds.
I mean, it put the pressure on you to this.
I'm really
but
interested in getting on
honestly,
the committee that talks about what kind of turf we're putting in on the
We're-
football field. That's
You
really
know, we
hot.
never heard a word. You guys took care of all this addition and I think once again,
blue.
Marcus and his program, you notice the dragons on the floor. You guys need to get that off there. Some people will go crazy.
I thought we had gotten rid of all of
Dragging on.
those. So.
That's probably just the old
It is.
the old
schematic.
blueprint in it.
Yeah.
Well, it's the old, it was traced in the computer,
Yeah.
so.
But
we
I'm
didn't
telling you,
catch
there
it.
will be people here that could throw something back in
Yeah.
I see you slipped that in there, Tab.
I suppose that's gonna be right on the floor tiles. isn't it?
What would it say if we're looking at the old ones from New Boston?
that.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Well,
that's the old high, that's,
yeah.
that portion is part of the old New Boston High School.
What will it say on the floor at the New Boston High School?
There was Bears.
Bears.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Blackhawks, Bears, and Joy the Bulldogs.
So you gotta do the the soil
Geotechnical,
borings.
so soil boring. So for the addition at Apollo and the addition at New Boston, Apollo probably have to do some kind of deep foundation because the existing buildings over here, I think, are all on houses. And so New Boston, we have no idea what they did.
I can tell you that it's all gonna be sand almost as deep as you can dig.
Okay, excellent.
It's gonna have the same consistency, compaction.
Yeah.
Unless you're going like 100 feet, it's
Right.
it's all gonna be the
You gotta
same.
have to get
It's gonna be the same at this, that, whatever.
There must be some bones from the '70s in there.
As long as they're not Native American and have to stop the whole process.
And that, which there might be some.
Yeah.
So the soil borings will probably do 1, maybe 2 at Apollo. We'll do at least 1, maybe 2. New Boston will probably be 3 or 4 because of the size of the area that we're.
Yeah, but I bet you find that whatever it is, it's gonna be pretty consistently sand.
Okay,
Sand.
the soil boring contract is with the school district, so
Okay.
we will get proposals from a couple of different soil boring folks. Make a recommendation to you. Do you have anybody in? Do you care? I mean, there's Terracon, there's team.
Terracon did this.
Yeah,
This.
okay.
Yeah.
They did. the
I would
one at the high
say-
school.
No,
They
Okay.
did the one for the foot, or for the track and all that, didn't they?
I don't know if they did.
He wasn't here. Okay.
We
That's
use
before me.
Terracon about 70% of the time, and they're cost efficient. So they're not, way out of line as far as the other companies, but they seem to do a very nice job, so.
One of those companies that down at the track and field, that they had that all screwed up. We were
Yeah.
gonna put the bleachers in, but instead they bored somewhere else where the bleachers weren't gonna go and thought that was gonna be about
Yeah.
the same, but
And
that
then
was
they
all,
were-
but that all been filled in and stuff and extended and changed, so that you need to. Down there at the high school, it need to be bored where you're gonna do the work,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
wasn't consistent at all.
Yeah, cause that's right, cause they hit, there's no dirt. It's basically rock right away
Yeah,
where the bleachers go. And they bored over in the hill
Oh,
and
no.
there was dirt for, I don't know. how
I'm
many
not
feet.
sure why they did, whatever they did, they
Yeah.
were born in a different place than what they were gonna do the work
Yeah.
and thought it was gonna be
That's
close
kinda
enough.
strange, yeah.
There's a lot of fill and stuff in that area.
Yeah,
Mhm.
same with the site survey.
Mhm.
That's something that will be directly contracted with the owner. So we'll get some prices, make a recommendation to you. The survey, I don't know if there's anybody in town. There
think
used to
there is
be, but I
anymore.
think,
He doesn't do it.
Oh,
There is, but whoever you use for over here, I would suggest we use it.
do you know who that was?
No, whoever you guys
Oh, okay,
use for this
Yeah.
little addition here.
yeah.
I just use,
I'll have to look. and see
I
who-
just,
who
sometimes
got
we
that.
struggle locally to have efficiency and
Yeah, I think Marty's probably,
I wouldn't
I don't
know.
know what he's got for people or.
Yeah.
anything.
Whoever you use for this, you agree, Scott?
Yeah.
I mean, I like Marty, that ain't.
He's just the only one I know. And we had Jeff Jacobs for a long time. Jeff.
And then stormwater, so when it rains, we don't want the water running onto somebody else's property, right?
Bill
And,
doesn't mind.
huh? Yeah.
Just run it to my house.
Yeah, it's your house, yeah.
Doesn't it run there anyway?
You're not
Pretty
gonna have
much.
too much trouble with that down in
It's a
Boston.
big,
Yeah.
it's a big river on days like today.
So
That was
again,
pretty good.
New Boston doesn't have any requirements that we know of. From what we check, we don't think they do. Alito, and we haven't got a response yet from Alito or from the county. But normally, we're not worried about Apollo because typically the cutoff is 5,000 square feet. So if we're doing less than 5,000 square feet, we don't have to worry about it. Other than we don't want to run force water onto somebody else's land, which in Apollo, we wouldn't be doing. I mean, it's still all going to stay on your property. So we're still checking on New Boston. We don't think there's anything. that
And the
we'll have to
county
do.
doesn't have anything.
We don't think the
They
county
don't.
does.
I
Okay.
was on the zoning board,
Okay,
on the board itself.
right,
They don't have anything.
Okay.
And they don't have an officer, nothing.
yeah, okay. So we'll just do good practices and we won't, unless we come up with something else, we won't worry about
Yeah.
having a pond or anything like
No.
that.
You'll do it right. But like Don said, New Boston, wherever it lands, it's going in the ground.
Right, and if it's all
Soak it up
sand, it'll
quick.
soak right in.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I would bet there's no place that's not sand for a long ways in that area.
So that's what we had for tonight. We
Perfect.
got a lot done. I don't know if anybody else has any other
No, that was
questions or
exciting.
No,
Great job.
questions or concerns.
We spent a lot of painstaking meetings to get to
Did you hear
here.
my voice get an octave higher when I saw the high school?
Within 5 minutes, you brought up all weather turf. So great job, gentlemen. Thank you.
yeah,
Next
Do we need to
meeting,
make any motion to do anything, Scott? I don't think so.
no, not yet.
Good.
How about a motion to adjourn?
Well, we got a next meeting, so if we keep in the same, it'd be the 8th.
Works for me. We'll make it work.
like 6:30.
Yeah,
August 8th at 6:30.
Sounds like a plan.
You're flying.
It's terrible.
Jeez.
and then, so, let's see. All right, and then I guess if you get the site survey and that information to Scott, we could get it on the. Well, do we have time to get it on the agenda for this month or?
Probably not, but
Okay.
depending on those contracts, I can probably approve them.
Oh, because they won't
I
be
can-
over the
they won't
dollar
be
amount.
over. They won't be over $25,000.
No.
And so,
Okay, so it's just like,
The soil borings would probably be in the 10 range, I would think, 10, 12. Survey. 5.
even though it's the
8
same
maybe.
project, you can have a billion for each one separate. When you stay under that. So, all right, well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Very good.
have a good evening.
Thanks.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
We're moving ahead.
perfect.
Exciting.
It is.
Could I tell you guys my story about the VFW?
Hey, Joe.
Folks,